My daughter erased me from the wedding I paid for, then chose the man my cheating ex left with. So I canceled all and let the chaos speak for me. Hi everyone, I'm Mark, 52 years old. I never imagined I would be writing something like this, but here I am, pouring my heart out to strangers online because I need to make sense of what happened. I hope that by sharing my story I can find some clarity and maybe help someone else who might be going through something similar. I was married to my ex-wife, Linda, for 20 years. We met in college, fell in love, and built what we thought was a stable life together. We had our daughter, Emily, when I was 27 and she was 25. For years, I believed we were a happy family. We had our ups and downs, of course, arguments about money, disagreements about raising our daughter, and the usual stresses of daily life. But nothing prepared me for the storm that hit when I turned 48. I discovered that Linda had been cheating on me for years. The affair was not casual or brief. It was an ongoing relationship with someone I considered a friend, a guy named Jason who worked at the same company I did. I found out by accident, overhearing messages on a work phone call. I confronted Linda, and she admitted everything. The betrayal broke me in ways I didn't know possible. It wasn't just that she cheated. It was the fact that she chose to be with someone else for so long, kept it a secret, and then had the audacity to introduce him into our family's life. I did my best to shield Emily from the mess. I didn't want her young adult mind burdened with the ugly details. Emily was in her early 20s at the time, just about to start her career as a graphic designer. I tried to explain that her mother and I were going through a rough patch, and that sometimes adults make mistakes. I told her we were separating and that I was moving into a smaller apartment. It was painful. I cried myself to sleep many nights. I could not reconcile the person I thought I married with the woman who betrayed me. But I had a responsibility to my daughter. I wanted her to feel loved and supported despite everything falling apart around her. I paid for her college, helped her find a decent apartment, and made sure she never felt abandoned. I moved on as best as I could, therapy, support groups, slowly rebuilding my life. I started dating again much later, after finally accepting that my marriage was over. A few years passed, and I established a comfortable routine. I found a new partner, a kind woman named Sarah, who treated me well. She got along with Emily too, and for a while it felt like life was offering me a second chance. Then, about 6 months ago, out of the blue, Emily called me on a Sunday afternoon. Her voice sounded excited, almost breathless. She said, "Dad, I'm engaged." I remember my heart jumping. I asked her who the lucky guy was, and she said his name was Tom. She told me they had been dating for 2 years, but wanted to keep it low-key until they were sure. I was thrilled. Despite everything, I had always dreamed of walking my little girl down the aisle someday. I imagined wearing a suit, smiling proudly, giving her away at her wedding. It felt like a beacon of light after years of darkness. Emily spent the next few weeks describing Tom to me. Smart, funny, worked in finance, treated her with respect. She said he was perfect for her, that they shared the same values, and that he made her laugh. I asked if she wanted me to help with anything, planning, budget, venue, and she said yes, that I shouldn't hold back. She insisted she wanted me to sponsor the wedding. She said, "Dad, you've done so much for me all these years. Let you give me something back." I was touched. My ex-wife had stopped contributing to Emily's life emotionally and financially, so when my daughter asked me to foot the bill, I didn't hesitate. I sold some stocks, tapped into savings, and set aside about $20,000 for a modest but beautiful ceremony. I wanted it simple, a small venue, maybe a backyard turned into a makeshift garden party, catering, flowers, a photographer. Nothing over the top. Just a day where everyone could celebrate love and family. Over the next 2 months, I found a venue, hired a caterer, selected a photographer, and picked out a suit. I spent evenings poring over seating charts, matching fabric swatches, and tasting cakes with Emily over Zoom since she lived 2 states away. We bonded again in a way I hadn't felt in years. I was proud to be her dad. I could see her excitement. She would send me pictures of sample invitations and ask which fonts I liked, what music I would march her down the aisle to. It felt like we were building something special together. Then, one Saturday evening, a month before the wedding date, I got a text from Emily that read, "Hey Dad, can you call me? We need to talk." I called immediately, thinking it was something urgent about the wedding. But when she answered, her tone was cold. She said, "I need to tell you something you might not like." My heart sank. She said, "I want you to know that Mom and her partner, Jason, you know, the man she left you for, are going to be at the wedding. I want to honor her, Dad. I felt a sharp pang of betrayal. I thought she was talking about guests, but it got worse. She said, not only will they be there, I want him to stand with me as I walk down the aisle. I paused, struggling to process her words. Emily, are you serious? You want me at your wedding, but you want that man, your mother's cheat partner, to stand by your side as you marry another man. She said yes. She said she loved him like a father figure, that he had been there for her when I was not, and that I needed to get over the past. She said, Dad, I know you paid for everything, but this is my wedding. I do not want you to stand in the way. I felt like someone had punched me in the gut. I tried to keep my voice steady. I said, Emily, you know what he did to me. He destroyed our marriage. How can you ask me to ignore that? How can you ask me to celebrate the man who took your mother away from me? She told me I was being unfair and selfish, that I was using my hurt to control her wedding choices. She said she was an adult now and could make her own decisions. I pleaded with her. Please, honey, think about how this will look. It will hurt me. It will hurt everyone who cares about us. This is about respect. But she hung up on me. No goodbye. No, I love you. Just disconnected the call. I sat on my couch staring at my phone, trembling. I had invested so much, emotionally and financially, into this wedding. I had dreamed of walking my daughter into a new chapter of her life. But now she was erasing me from it. She was intentionally sidelining me and inserting the very man who had shattered my heart. I tried to reach out again. Text messages, emails, lost voicemail after voicemail. She ignored everything. When I spoke to my ex-wife, she said, Mark, that's our daughter's choice. Stop causing trouble. Her words stung more than I expected. She seemed happy to have her partner's presence legitimized at the wedding. Their family was merging back together, at least in her mind. So I was faced with a decision: swallow my pride, ignore my pain, show up at a wedding where I would be treated as an outsider or worse, a villain, or step back, cancel my involvement, and let my absence be the statement. I thought about the look on my daughter's face on her wedding day. Would she really want me to stand up, arms folded, eyes red from tears, while standing next to the man who stole her mother? It felt impossible. I made the call to the wedding planner at 10:37 that night. I told her to remove my name from all documentation, that I was no longer contributing financially or otherwise. I asked her to refund my deposit. I instructed her to exclude me from seating charts, guest lists, anything that had my name on it. I hung up, hands shaking, tears streaming down my face. I felt a surge of anger and sorrow mingled together. My heart broke all over again. The next morning, I emailed all the vendors, caterer, florist, photographer, and told them to cancel my orders. I stopped payment on checks I had written. I logged into the wedding website and paid for the premium cancellation package so the page would simply go offline. I wanted no trace of my involvement. I then drafted a letter addressed to my daughter, but I didn't send it right away. I needed to collect my thoughts. I wrote, Emily, everything I have done for you, every sacrifice, every sleepless night, I did it because I love you. I believed you wanted me there on one of the most important days of your life. But you have chosen to honor the man who destroyed our family. You have chosen to erase me. I cannot stand by and pretend that is okay. I am canceling everything. Your wedding will proceed with or without me, but know that the father who paid for it will not be present, because he cannot celebrate a betrayal. I hope someday you understand why. I left the letter in my drafts folder. Over the next week, the fallout was immediate. My younger brother, Tom, called me and asked what the hell was going on. I got invited to help set up the tables, he said. But your name is nowhere. I told him to call Emily, because I would not be the go-between. I thought you were helping with this wedding, he replied. I said, I tried to help, but they decided they didn't want me involved. He was shocked and angry on my behalf. He said, she's your daughter. You don't just get erased like that. My parents, who live across the country, called hysterical. They couldn't understand why Emily would cut me out. My mother cried on the phone, saying, that baby was our joy. We've done everything for her. I told her I was handling it, but I too felt blindsided. I confided in them that I had canceled everything. My father said, we'll back you up no matter what. Their support meant the world, but it didn't fill the void. Word got around to our circle of friends. Some took my side. Others blamed me, saying I should have apologized to my ex and her partner and just moved on. One of my old college buddies said, it's just a wedding. Don't make a mountain out of a molehill. I replied, it's not about a wedding. It's about respect and boundaries. She chose to honor the man who stole her family. Meanwhile, Emily's fiancé, Tom, called me. His voice was polite, but I could hear he was uncomfortable. "Dad, I know things are tense, but I hope you'll reconsider. I want you there." I took a deep breath and said, "Tom, I appreciate you reaching out, but I cannot be part of something that disrespects me and my history. I'm sorry, but I canceled everything." He paused for a long moment. "I really hope you understand one day," he said finally. Then he hung up. Every morning felt like waking into a nightmare. I would sit in my kitchen, drinking coffee, staring at the wall, wondering how my little girl had come to this point. I thought back to the day she was born, how I held her in my arms for the first time, how I told myself I would protect her from anything. Yet here she was, allowing someone who had caused so much pain into her life, dismissing the father who raised her. Friends and family tried to mediate. My sister-in-law offered to bring her to my house so we could talk face to face. I agreed to a dinner meeting. We sat at a small Italian restaurant on a Tuesday night. I saw the look on Emily's face when she walked in, eyes downcast, shoulders tense. She sat across from me, quietly, fiddling with her napkin. For a moment, I thought maybe she would apologize. But she didn't. I took a breath and said, "Em, I love you. I want to understand why you're doing this." She avoided eye contact. She whispered, "I'm sorry, Dad. I know you're hurt, but this is the life I want." I said, "You're my daughter. I want to support you, but choosing him over me, after everything, how can you ask that?" She said, "He's been there for me when you weren't." I felt anger flare up. When I wasn't. I was the one who paid for your college, who moved to be closer, who called you every day. What could he do that I didn't? He was with your mother. He didn't protect you. He didn't comfort you. He betrayed me, betrayed our family. She looked away, took a shaky breath, and said, "I know you think you sacrificed everything, but I needed closure. I needed to heal the way she did. He showed me a side of my mother I never got to see. I can't ignore that." I wanted to shout, to shake her, to make her see how deep the wound was. Instead, I felt my voice break. "So you erase me? You erase my history, my love for you." She said, "I'm not erasing you. I'm adding to my history. You can't have a life without acknowledging where she came from." I leaned back, exhausted. I realized this wasn't about me anymore. It was her choice. I said, "Then you'll have to do it without me." She stood up and left without looking back. That dinner was the last real conversation we had. After that, messages went unanswered. Calls went straight to voicemail. I sent the letter I had drafted. She never replied. The wedding date came and went. I didn't go. My brother, Tom, and his wife went, but they said it was awkward. Emily walked down the aisle with her mom and Jason on either side. They rolled cameras in front of them to capture every moment. I heard someone whispered that my brother raised a toast to the new couple. I was not mentioned. That moment was my final confirmation that I had made the right choice, painful as it was. In the weeks since, I felt a strange mix of relief and sorrow. Relief that I didn't have to sit there and pretend to be okay with what they did. Relief that I didn't have to watch my daughter willingly embrace the man who hurt me. But also sorrow, because I lost a relationship with my daughter that I thought could never be broken. I feel a hole in my life where she used to be. My friends tell me time will heal, that maybe one day she'll see how wrong she was. My parents visit as often as they can. My brother checks in. I go to therapy twice a month. I still talk about the wedding with a lump in my throat, but each time it hurts a little less. I've sold the wedding suit I bought, donated all the leftover decorations, and cleared my calendar. Part of me wonders if I should reach out again. Another part knows it's not my fault she chose her mother's partner over her own father. I know this story is messy and complicated, full of heartbreak and betrayal, but I share it because maybe someone out there is dealing with a parent or child who made choices that feel impossible to understand. Life moves on. I have plans for travel, hobbies I neglected for years. I'm rediscovering myself outside the shadow of that wedding. And though my relationship with Emily may be fractured for years to come, I hold on to the hope that eventually she'll realize what stands were made and why. If you're reading this and feel betrayed by someone you love, know you're not alone. Sometimes walking away from a situation, even a wedding, is the only way to preserve your dignity and mental health. Chaos can be a voice. Mine spoke loud enough that I couldn't ignore it, and now I'm left to piece myself back together on my own terms.